In the fall, I end up traveling for work, and I quite enjoy it. I'm up here in Fort McMurray, actually, and I have to say this community is rebuilding rather quickly, and it's great to see. But on these trips, just as the frost is hitting my garden, I'm over, traveling here and there for work, and it gives me time to reflect, and I really enjoy these trips so that I can think about and reflect on what went well this gardening season and what did not. And then I begin the process, the very exciting process of planning for next gardening season. But just because the frost has hit and it's nearing the end of the season doesn't mean that everything is actually done. Crops like carrots and beets do perfectly fine after a few frosts, and you can in fact leave them in the ground until the ground starts to freeze. The other crop that I like to leave is grapes. What happens with my more bitter grapes is as the frost hits, it brings out the sugar, making it just that much better. After being given the opportunity to reflect on what went well and what did not, I don't actually mind the fact that it's slowing down here in the garden. Right now, the most important thing while it's fresh in your mind is to write down what went well and what did not go well this growing season so that you can improve next year. So today I thought I would go through a couple of the things that didn't go very well in my garden and a couple of things that did go well so that I can continue to improve next year. I'll start with the number one problem that I figured out this year that I had. When conditions are right, slugs can become a real big problem in my garden. I did, however, notice that there was no damage on the slug-prone crops that were on my deck. So next year what I'm going to do is I'm going to start those slug-prone seedlings up on the deck and transplant them to the garden when they're large enough to sustain a little bit of damage and take off. The melons that I grew on these teepees didn't do very well, and I think it had to do with the fact that I did not cover them in a low tunnel in the spring to give them that extra heat that they needed to really get going. In the last few weeks, they were developing very, very quickly, but as soon as we got that first frost, the plants died off, and it was just not quite enough time for the entire fruit to get ripe. That said, I didn't lose all of it. About 75% of all of the little fruits were ripe, but hey, next year, we're going to improve. The other thing that I learned is I need to figure out a way that I can prevent nutrient leaching from my containers. Although the compost in those containers is fantastic, we had so much rain this year that the nutrients continued to leach out. That said, it didn't actually impact the production, I don't think. I ended up with quite a few crops off of all of my plants that just looked a little rough during the season, although for things like peppers, that might actually not be a bad thing. A little bit of stress usually means that they produce better flavored peppers faster. But I would still like to figure out a way that I can prevent that nutrient leaching at least just a little bit past the regular mulch that I use so that I can continue to improve and see if I can eke out just a little bit higher crops out of each and every one of my containers. Some things this year, however, did go extremely well. The tomato crops that I harvested far exceeded my wildest dreams and best crops to date. I tried out a number of varieties, and a few of them percolated to the top, in fact replacing some of my mainstay tomatoes, such as my Sweet and Neat, that I'll be replacing with a Sun Sugar Cherry tomato. The single-stemmed method of growing tomatoes in containers was also a fantastic success. I was able to prune them and successfully grow a lot of my tomatoes, even large varieties, in containers that were much more portable so that I could continue to optimize the use of the space that I have available. Although it shouldn't have been a surprise, my peppers far exceeded my expectations, producing 3 full crops during the year. And I attribute this to the pepper pruning method that I've been honing in over the past few years. I will put a link to a video that I did a few years ago on this method in the description below and at the end of this video. The other massive success that I had was the grafting that I did to my Harcourt apple. In fact, this Manitoba apple nearly tripled its length this year from the scion that I grafted just this May. The graft did so well this year that it looks strong enough to actually hold fruit either next year or the year after, which I'm very excited about. With the 2016 outdoor season winding down, I'll be moving indoors because I still have 6 months before the 2017 season really gets kicked off out here. And that will keep me busy throughout the winter and continue to have fresh produce available for me and my family. And I'm proud to say that this year I have preserved more of the produce than ever before, while not sacrificing what I was harvesting during the growing season. In fact, I ate more during the growing season and I was able to save more food to enjoy over the winter out of the same garden space by simply using a few techniques that help me maximize the use of my space. In fact, I have some tomato sauce boiling down in the house that I'll be canning this evening. Among other things, you may have noticed that I've slowed down the frequency that I produce videos, and there's a very specific reason for that. As many of you know, I'm a professional biologist with a career that I absolutely love. I've been traveling a lot more lately, and that's due to my work and some part due to my family. We've had lots of visitors, my son and I are enjoying many, many more adventures, and life is just getting busy. And I want to maintain the quality of these videos, and I continue to want to do these videos, so I decided, for now at least, to bump down to one every 2 weeks. And I hope you guys will stick around and continue to enjoy these videos as much as I enjoy making them. I absolutely love this community. You guys are fantastic, and the lessons that I learned from you have helped me grow more food for my family, and that's fantastic. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, come join me on Facebook. That's a vibrant community over on the Alberta Urban Garden Facebook page, so please hop on over. As I close out today's video, I'm continuing to enjoy snacks from the garden, including some grapes that I missed from the Ligari grapes, and just enjoying myself, enjoying the process. Yes, things are winding down, but that's all right. It happens. I'm very excited for the indoor growing season to start. I'm going to start some herbs right away, and then when I get that itch, I'm going to start my peppers and pruning them. So, even though I'm in zone 3, I can garden 365 days a year, and it doesn't have to cost a lot, and the family can continue to enjoy fresh produce, or at least preserved produce, all year from even this very small space.